Good Friday morning, everyone. I hope this finds you well and living your very best life in Jesus Christ. If you looked at my face, you notice I kind of paused when I said Good Friday. Good Friday's always bothered me ever since I was a kid. I mean, why call Good Friday good when it's such a dark and bleak event commemorating the day of suffering and death for Jesus? I mean, why call the day of Jesus' death Good Friday instead of something more appropriate? When I was a kid, I used to call it Bad Friday. It used to drive Mom crazy. Or something horrible, like, Horrible Friday. But there are some Christian traditions that do take this approach. In German, for example, the day is called Karfreitag, or Sorrowful Friday. And even in English, the origin of the term good is debated. Some believe it developed from an older name, God's Friday. Well, regardless of the origin, the name Good Friday is entirely appropriate because the suffering and death of Jesus, as terrible as it was, marked the dramatic accumulation of God's plan to save his people from their sins. See, for Christians, Good Friday is a crucial day of the year because it celebrates what we believe to be the most momentous event in the entire history of the world. Ever since Jesus died and was raised, Christians have proclaimed the cross and the resurrection of Jesus to be the most decisive turning point for all of creation. Paul considered it to be, in his words, of first importance that Jesus died for our sins, was buried, and was raised to life on the third day, all in accordance with what God had promised all along in the Scriptures. If you want to read that for yourself, go to 1 Corinthians 15:3. On Good Friday, remember the day Jesus willingly suffered and died by crucifixion as the ultimate sacrifice for our sins. And it's followed by Easter, the glorious day of celebration when Jesus was raised from the dead. And it heralds his victory over sin and death. It points ahead to a future resurrection for all of us who are united to him in faith. In order for the good news of the gospel to have meaning for us, we first have to understand the bad news. And the bad news is that our condition is not good. Our condition as sinful people under condemnation, sentenced to death, is not something we want to ponder, but we should. The good news of deliverance only makes sense once we realize that we were enslaved by sin, and that it's through the cross that we have our only true hope. The cross of Jesus is where God's demands, his righteousness, coincided with his mercy. We receive divine forgiveness, mercy, and peace only because Jesus willingly took upon himself our divine punishment, the result of God's righteousness against sin. Hebrews 12:2 says, "For the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross." On Good Friday, knowing that it led to his resurrection, our salvation, and the beginning of God's reign of righteousness and peace. Good Friday marks the day when, as Billy Graham put it, wrath and mercy met at the foot of the cross. It's the day where we were finally freed from the bondage of sin. I can answer the question now that I couldn't answer when I was 7 or 8 years old, because now I know that it is the sacrifice of Christ on Good Friday which makes it possible for us to join him for all eternity. And that makes it a Good Friday indeed. I hope you make today a fantastic day. I want you to know that I'm here if you need me. And I truly love you all.